We're going to start this by putting our thumb inside our index fingers and pulling our pinkies down towards the floor. So we're going to do this 4 ways. Then we're going to pull our wrist up and reach up towards the ceiling. And you can turn your knuckles in towards each other. If you need any sort of extra tension, you can push them against each other. You can even push it against the floor. And then we'll turn our hands out. And we'll hold each of these for about 30 seconds. You can take it up to a minute, but it might be a little bit tough. You can release your hands from there, and then we're going to do a forearm stretch. So the first thing you want to do is point your hand down towards the floor, then turn your wrists so your fingers are pointed sort of out towards your elbow. Then you'll grab the back of your hand with the opposite hand. You'll hold that. Then you'll let your fingers come up to the ceiling. We'll grab our hands and pull it back from there as well. Then we'll just switch sides and do the same thing. And again, each of these are about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Take your time with each one. You don't want to feel rushed or cause any extra tension. After you finish with sort of both wrists, you can go down to the floor. And what you want to do for the floor stretch is you want to turn your hands, like rotate your hands towards your knees. So your fingers are aimed towards your knees. And then you're slowly going to rest your body weight back towards your heels to get a good stretch in your forearms. Don't force this. The more you do it, the more flexible you'll get. So immediately going into a shoulder stretch after that. This one is just a standard shoulder stretch. You've probably done it before in the gym, but you're pulling your arm across your chest. You're grabbing the back of your elbow with your opposite hand, and you'll pull and you'll hold it in for 30 seconds. You can grab a hold of a wall or something to help this stretch make it a little bit better, but it's not necessary. Then we'll go overhead with our elbows, and we'll grab the back of our elbow with our opposite hand and do a tricep stretch. Again, you can use a wall for this stretch, but it's not necessary. And I'm doing all of these kneeling, but you can do them standing as well, at least for the shoulder and the tricep stretches. Then we're going to go down to the floor for a sleeper stretch. What you want to think about when you're doing this is like if you were going to lay down, like you were going to take a nap on your arm, but you want your elbow to be at about eye level, and you're trying to rotate your arm all the way down to the floor in front of your chest, and then back behind your head. You're going to do 10 of these on each side. If for whatever reason your shoulders aren't as flexible, you can rest your opposite hand on top of your hand to increase your flexibility, but you don't want to force your hand to the floor because that would cause pain, and we don't want that. Then you flip over to the other side and do the same thing again. Arm at eye level, bring that hand down to the floor, and then back up. Typically, one shoulder is a little bit more tight than the other. Happens for a bunch of different reasons, but do this 10 times on each side. You can do it 2 sets, and you should feel a lot of freedom in that shoulder afterwards. I come up for a neck stretch next. In the first version I show, I'm holding on to the bar here, and I'm letting my body weight fall away from that hand. So I feel a little bit of a stretch in my shoulder already. Then I'm looking into my opposite pocket and resting my hand on top of my head. Again, you don't want to force your head down. You just want to look off to that pocket and let that other hand come over just to give a little bit of added weight. And then I do it free on the other side, so I'm not holding on to anything, but I'm reaching that arm out as far as I can, still looking down to my opposite pocket and resting my hand on top of my head. The last stretch you'll do is you'll bring your chin down to your chest, and then you'll take both hands and rest them on top of your head. Each of these can be done for 30 seconds. You can do it for a little bit longer. This is really good to do before you go to sleep, especially if you've had a stressful day. Now for the overhead mobility. So I make this look really easy because my shoulders and my chest are pretty loose. I do a lot of this exercise in particular. So I'm going to show it both ways. What you want to do first is you want to get like a foam roller. A larger foam roller is better because you want to be able to put your upper back on the foam roller. I typically do it around my shoulder blades. And you'll see me pull my arms in here and put my elbows sort of on the outside of the foam roller. That way you can sort of see where I'm at. Yep. Then I take the kettlebell. I'm going to put the kettlebell over my head and bring it all the way down to the floor. I'm using a dumbbell, I'm sorry. And then I drop my hips down to the floor. This is like the ideal position if you can get your hips down as well as your hands and completely relax your head. If you're unable to do this, you can bring your hips off the floor and keep them up, but try to keep your hands down. Or you can do this without weight, but you want your thumbs to be able to touch the floor. Whenever you come out of this, bring your elbows in and then sit up. It's just a lot easier on your back. Then I'm going to go into a floor lat stretch. So I'm on all fours right here. I'm going to take my left hand over top of my right, and I rest my right hand inside, and I lean my entire body weight off to the left side. You should feel this stretching in your lats. That's pretty much like under your armpit on your left side. If you don't feel it that well, you can open up your knees so you have a little bit more stability and lean over a little bit further. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Right hand over top of the left. Left hand comes on top. Then I lean off to the right side. It's a really good stretch. Hold this for about a minute on each side. Then I'm going to do a couple of things for upper back mobility. If you've ever done yoga before, you've seen some of these exercises, but this first one is a cat-cow. So for the cat, I'm bringing my back up to the ceiling as high as I can, and I'm sort of rocking in and out a little bit because I'm trying to find sort of areas in my back that are a little tight. And then for the cow, I'll drop my stomach down to the floor, bring up my hips and my shoulders. Then I come up to even again, and I take my left arm under my right. And for this, you try to bring your shoulder all the way to the floor. You just hold it there. Let your upper back stretch out and relax. And you can come up and switch to the other side. I go through this a little bit fast, but you can stay in each position for about 30 seconds. Or you can make this sort of a repped stretch where you go in and out, make it a little bit more dynamic. Seated twist is next. So I'm going to cross my left leg over my right. I'm going to pull it back a little bit, give it a little bit of a hug so I can make sure my glutes released. Then I put my right arm behind my left knee. Left hand comes back behind my shoulders, and I twist here, holding it for about 30 seconds. If your lower back's pretty tight, sometimes it'll crack in this position, but take your time with this. And then I switch to the other side. So right leg over left, left arm behind right knee, turning my chest out. Try to sit as upright as you can when you do this. Don't fall down towards the floor, but then for some floor mobility, I'm going to do a couple of stretches to help release my glutes. So the first thing I do is pull in my knee, hold that for about 30 seconds. Then I pull my knee across my body, and I extend my leg. Then I bring my left shoulder over to my right, and then extend my arm out towards my left side. You can do this with your leg straight or your knee bent. Either way, it doesn't matter. Whatever helps you hold the stretch, whatever feels better. Then I'm basically going to do the same thing on the other side. So I pull my leg back to the middle, pull my right knee in this time, give it a nice little hug. You can hold this for 30 seconds as well. And then I take my right leg off to my left side. Extend that leg out, reach over, and open up my chest. So we did the upper back stretches, we did some stuff for the lower back, but the best way to sort of get your whole back is actually to do a seated stretch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sit on the box. I move myself to the edge of the box, and I spread my feet out a little bit wide. That way I have some place for my arms to go. And then you just want to sort of just let your body hang there. If you're using more of a chair for this, I'm using a box, so I couldn't do it, but if you're using more of a chair, you can actually reach under your legs and sort of grab one of the back chair legs and sort of help your back stretch that way, but either way, don't force it. Hang out there for like 30 seconds, and that's it.